Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the gymnasium here at Milford High School as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call as we bring you our first coverage of Milford High School basketball for the new year. Happy New Year to one and all out there. Tonight it is the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks resuming their regular season action here at home. They open up their 2019 portion of their schedule with a very tough opponent here on the Milford hardwood in the defending Division II state champion Foxboro Lady Warriors. Foxboro had quite a season last year, losing just 2 times in all of the 2017-2018 season en route to an appearance in the Division II state championship game in which they met up with the Hopkinton Lady Hillers, a nearby rival of Milford in the non-conference ranks. Foxboro ended up having to come through with a gutty come-from-behind performance in that state championship game, but that is exactly what they did to earn the state title. They ended up graduating a good deal of talent from that state championship team. However, as this team always seems to do year in and year out, they are able to find new talent to fill those holes. And they were already on their way to finding the next generation of talent on this team last year as Caitlin Malika came onto the scene as a freshman as one of the top scoring guards in all of the Hockomock League last year. Now as a sophomore, she has become the focal point of this offense. And just from watching Caitlin Malika warm up here during shoot-around, that shot very reminiscent of a player Milford fans knew well here in their home uniform in Kate Irwin. So that is certainly a player to watch out for on the Foxboro side as this game goes along. Meanwhile, for Milford, it has certainly been a different story out of the gate so far this year. 0-5 coming into play here today. 3 losses within Hockomock League play, a couple of non-conference losses as well. Most recently, they suffered a 61-19 loss to the Norwood Lady Mustangs in a game that took place earlier this week back on Wednesday. And so 0-5 now on the season as this new-look Lady Hawks roster looks to really learn on the fly, as we talked about prior to the season's started, and as Patrick Garapi has pointed out so far in the 2 broadcasts we've brought you of Lady Hawks basketball. This is a team with not very much varsity experience coming into this year, and of course losing that entire rotation from a season ago. There have been some bright spots on the season so far for Milford, most notably in the performance offensively of Emma Lawrence, who has emerged as the prime scoring option on this team. She has scored at times half of the point total for this team or more in a lot of the games this season. So her offense has been very good to start the year. The question is, when can Milford start coming up with a supporting cast that can help Lawrence on the offensive side of the floor? It will certainly be a difficult test for this Milford offense here tonight, as again they take on the defending state champs in the Foxboro Warriors. It'll be a battle for the Lady Hawks here tonight. We'll get it started right after this quick break. Again, it is Milford taking on Foxboro, and we'll have the opening tip when we come back next here on Milford TV. And welcome right back inside the Milford gym. Time to get this game started. A Davenport Division rivalry on this Friday night as the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks take on the Foxboro Lady Warriors. 2 teams in different positions in the standings right now, with Foxboro coming in with a perfect 5-0 record, Milford 0-5, and Foxboro controls the opening tip, and they quickly get it to their star player, Caitlin Malika, from beyond the 3-point line. She was knocking down those threes with ease during shoot-around and knocks one down cleanly. And just seconds into the game, it gives gives Foxboro an early lead. If the JV game was any indication of how the varsity game will unfold here tonight, it's certainly not good news for the Lady Hawks, as it was the Foxboro JV team with a runaway victory. 55-9, I believe, was the final score in that JV game. A one-sided affair as Milford gets their first looks from the free throw line, and bad luck around the hoop for Jillian Mickelson. Some sort of discrepancy on the scoreboard. Now it seems like everything is straightened out, and resetting the free throws, and now another miss from Mickelson with 1 more to go. And is able to make the second. So 3-1 the early score. This Foxboro offense, again, despite the fact that they lost a stellar senior class, has been very strong out of the gates. Milford forcing the turnover, but Foxboro with the turnover of their own, and breaking away was Lizzie Davis, who then takes the foul as she went up to the rim. But those dominating offensive performances for Foxboro include 2 straight games in which they beat their opponents by 40-plus points. A 78-38 victory against Taunton back on December 18th, and then a 63-23 lopsided affair against the team that they faced off against in the state championship game a year ago in Hopkinton. Most recently, a 54-40 win against Walpole. As both free throws rattle home for Davis, and it opens up an early 4-point advantage for the Lady Warriors as the Foxboro applies pressure in the backcourt. And Emma Lawrence, who has been the standout so far on the season, right now handling the basketball. She'll no doubt receive her fair share of attention from this aggressive Foxboro defense. Ferreira trying to feed Lawrence down low, but the pass does not make it. Quick release from 3, no good. Milford can't collapse in for the rebound, but Foxboro ultimately called for the travel. And again, Milford having trouble getting the ball out of the backcourt. There's Malika guarding very closely against Mickelson. She's able to get the pass away to Emma Lawrence. And now the ball goes off the hands of Katie Maeda, and now up for grabs again around midcourt. And Mickelson is able to recover, and now Lawrence driving inside with the shot clock winding down, and the shot no good. And now a wide open look on the other end of the floor from 3-point range, no good for Foxboro's Chelsea Gibbons. The offensive rebound, Malika thought about releasing another 3, instead dishes the pass away. Now the feed inside, looking for Yara Fawaz. But the foul is called with 6:12 to play in the first quarter. Milford's last action at home came back on December 28th against Hopedale. It was a very low-scoring first quarter in that game. It was just a 9-5 score after the first 8 minutes with Hopedale in front. Ultimately, the Lady Blue Raiders were able to pull away as that game went on, breaking a 4-game winning streak for Milford over Hopedale. Lawrence looking to spring loose from the defensive Lizzie Davis. Now the off-balance shot tossed up by Mickelson. No good. Some early misses here for the Lady Hawks. Malika doesn't see anything she likes. And now the pass deflected. Can Milford get to it? Mickelson aggressive, but ends up losing the foot race to the basketball with Malika. The shot clock did not reset, so Foxboro with 5 seconds left to shoot. And the three-pointer no good. Milford trying to get position for rebounds. Reading some comments from Coach DeOliver after one of Milford's recent losses. Coach saying we need a lot of work in terms of the fundamentals like boxing out and just having the urgency to go after the basketball. If we can start to get better at little things like that, it will show in the game. And that's just the difference between this current Lady Hawks roster and what fans have been used to seeing in the previous seasons. A lot of these players still looking to become comfortable and confident in those fundamentals. As Malika, again, clean with the shot from outside. She has 6 early points. And an 8-1 lead with 4:50 to go in the first quarter for Foxboro. Here's Carly Ferreira now. Tries to drive baseline, looking to send that pass in the neighborhood of Emma Lawrence, but another turnover. Turnover is a big problem here through these early minutes. Grace Rizzio getting good position and not expecting the pass as she made her way back up the floor. Tried to recover but could not. Grace Rizzio, of course, with the responsibility of being the lone captain on this Lady Hawks roster for this 2018-19 season. She is one of just 2 seniors on the roster. Lily Borst is the other senior. The foul was called on Rizzio. It's her first. A free throw miss. And now into the game comes Ashanti Barreto. Yara Fawaz at the free throw line ends up missing both shots. And now here is Barreto using speed up the floor, trying to release that floater in the lane. It doesn't go, able to fight for the rebound, and she gets fouled and immediately provides an energy presence off the bench. Right now, both of Milford's points have come courtesy of the free throw line. And a miss on the second attempt, so it stays an 8-2 score. Now it's Fawaz, releases the pass underneath the basket to an open Abby Hassman. And then a quick foul called for after the Foxboro basket. Now back outside off the inbounds pass. Foxboro looking to let it fly early and often from the three-point line. That time a miss for Davis. And now Ferreira on the other side of the floor, and Carly Ferreira connects from three. And that delights the hometown fans as Milford cuts it to a 5-point lead. Now Rizzio with good defense forces the loose ball. Milford going after it. The ball still up for grabs now as Barreto gets into a scrum. And the possession arrow going Milford's way, so starting to show a little more fight after those early minutes belonged to Foxboro. And Ashanti Barreto giving this team a very big boost off the bench. You can just see the speed and athleticism of Barreto is a real difference maker out there on the floor. Now here's Ferreira. She tries to bully her way inside. The shot no good, and now Milford having some trouble in transition. Too much speed for Foxboro's Jordan Collins, who breaks away and gets two. Here's Lawrence now. Lawrence trying to feed Barreto on the move. The pass was behind her. She was able to recover to get a shot away, but takes a bounce off the rim and does not go. 2:36 to go in the first quarter as, again, the feed is down low, and Fawaz this time takes care of business. And it's back up to a 9-point Foxboro lead. And Coach Dolliver now calling the timeout. It stops the clock with 2 minutes and 23 seconds to go in the first quarter. Milford trying to hang tough here in these early minutes against the defending state champs. A 14-5 lead for Foxboro over Milford here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. Back out of the timeout as Ferreira finds Barreto with the pass. 2:20 to go in the first quarter. Milford down by 9. Barreto dribbles away from the double team. And the officials stopping play, I believe. A cup might have wandered onto the court from over in the Foxboro bench area. Back into play with 12 seconds to go on the shot clock. Lawrence unable to break free for much so far through this first quarter. The shot clock now almost gone. The ball in Lawrence's hands. She tosses up the shot, nearly gets it to go off the glass. And the Foxboro rebound effort, the ball ended up glancing off of the Warriors and out of play. The coaching staff on the Milford side screaming for a foul, saying there was contact under the basket. Meanwhile, off the inbounds, Milford turns it over, so it adds insult to injury. Warriors get the pass back in with 1:50 to go in the opening period of play. Still a 14-5 score. Malika can't get free. Now cutting to the basket for the bucket is Anita Busniak. Foxboro's been spreading around the offense through this first quarter. Again, talking about that offense, we've mentioned some of the lopsided victories. On average, through their first 5 games of the season, Foxboro's margin of victory, this is average per game, has been 28.6 points. They have won by an average of 28.6 points per game through these first 5 games of the season. So they have not been in a close contest all season long so far. Their most closely contested game was their most recent game, a 54-40 victory against Walpole. You think about some of the players this Foxborough team lost after that state championship run last season. Staples of this varsity program: Ashley Sampson, Lily Sykes, Grace Tamaleonis, Shannon Smalley. 4 incredibly gifted, talented basketball players. And despite those losses, this team looking every bit as competitive as they did a season ago. An off-balance shot. And a quick 4 points off the bench for Busniak, bringing it up to an 18-5 Foxborough lead with less than 60 seconds to go in the first. Barreto trying to fight through a double team. Now the feed for Lawrence, gets around a defender and gets the layup. First points of the night for Emma Lawrence. Down to an 11-point lead with 35 seconds to go in the period. Coach Dolliver, a lot of communication from the sidelines as Malika releases a long 3, no good. Initial rebound goes to Foxborough. They miss on the second chance effort. And now with 20 seconds left, the shot clock turned off for Milford. Meanwhile, Lawrence goes sprawling to the floor away from the basketball, and Milford ends up turning it over. So now a chance for the Warriors to play for the last shot. Good passing for the Lady Warriors, but the shot missed. Milford trying to get it up the floor in a hurry, but another turnover leads to a good look from 3-point range for Foxborough. They cannot cash in, and that will do it for the first 8 minutes. So a solid effort for Foxborough. Milford showing good fight. And the result, an 18-7 lead for the Lady Warriors over Milford after 1. A quick timeout here, and we'll have the start of the second quarter when we come back next here on Milford TV. Second quarter action now underway here in the Scarlet Hawks Gymnasium. Milford trailing the Lady Warriors by a score of 18-7. A quick release under the basket, and 2 more points for the Lady Warriors. I believe that was through traffic, Shakira Katant. As now the ball is poked loose, and another Milford turnover. It's at least a half a dozen now through the first quarter plus. And now Milford called for the foul. It's the second foul called on Ashanti Barreto. Milford with 5 fouls with just over 7 minutes to go in the half. Foxborough with 3. Malika, the long pass, finds Busniak. Busniak now at the line. 3 for 5 from the free throw line so far tonight for the Lady Warriors. Bosniak goes 1 for 2. It's up to a 14-point lead now for Foxboro as Mickelson releases a quick three. It's offline, but Milford is able to track down the offensive board. Ferreira lost the handle, but was able to get it away to Barreto. Looked good on her way to the basket, but just could not finish. A very quick release that time for Jordan Collins, who is now up to 4 points in the half. 23-7 as the Lady Warriors start to open up the score. They've scored the first 5 points of the second period. Now Malika liked the look, but could not land the shot. Ashanti Barreto now will take a seat on the bench, replaced by Elise Fauerbach. Fauerbach, another sophomore on this varsity roster, a player that we got to see quite a bit of during the fall sports season on the Lady Hawks volleyball team, was a big factor on that team that made the postseason. Ferreira feeling confident again from three-point range, but this time just offline with the shot. Gets back quickly defensively, as do the rest of these Lady Hawks. Now eventually going inside, where again it's Shakira Katan. Has 4 points in the second quarter. An 18-point lead and growing now for Foxboro. Milford has not been able to make a basket through these early minutes of the second quarter, but Grace Rizzio finally breaks that up. The Milford captain with her first points of this contest. A no-look pass inside to Abby Hassman. Seven different scorers so far through this first half for Foxboro. Here's Lawrence. She gets called for the travel. Good defense for Catant. And timeout called for here. I believe it was Coach Dolliver who called the timeout, stopping the clock with 4:49 to play in the first half. After a fairly close score after one, Foxboro opening things up now, taking a 27-9 lead over Milford here on this coverage of Lady Hawks basketball on Milford TV. Under 5 minutes to play in the first half. But things going in the wrong direction in a hurry for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. Malika with another three-point attempt. She's knocked down 3 shots so far in the game. They've all come from behind the arc. And she'll look for another one here from deeper range. And 6 lightning-quick points for Caitlin Malika, who now has a dozen in this first half. And a 33-9 lead as Jillian Mickelson heaves one up, but it is not close. Grace Rizzio gets knocked down as Foxboro has ramped up their play here over these last 3 minutes, and it has certainly shown on the scoreboard. It's been a 15-2 run. You can now make it 16-2 over the first 4 minutes and 5 seconds of this second quarter. violation on the second free throw attempt for Shakira Katant. But good work for Katant through the second quarter, has 5 points. Barreto back on the floor. Tries to rifle in the inbounds pass to Katie Maeda. It was a little too hot for Maeda to handle, and you can see her shaking out the hand afterwards. Grace Rizzio now getting a seat on the bench. Milford's second senior on the roster, Lily Borst, currently out there on the floor. Seeing some minutes here in the second quarter. That ball deflected out off of Foxboro. This is a very tough stretch of the schedule for Milford. This two-game stretch, this game against Foxboro here tonight. And they'll follow that up on Monday with a contest against the Mansfield Lady Hornets of the Kelly Rex division. It's quite an interesting matchup between Milford and Mansfield last season. A game that a lot of people picked Mansfield to win lopsided, but Milford really shocked the Lady Hornets through the first half. They had the upper hand. They had a near double-digit lead. When Kate Irwin ended up taking a hard foul, she went down hard to the floor, hit her head, and had to exit the game, could not return, and Mansfield was able to really turn the tide in that game after that. So that contest coming up on Tuesday here at home. We'll have coverage of that game as well. A 36-9 lead here for Foxboro against Milford with just over 3 minutes to go until halftime. Milford with just 2 points still to show for this second quarter. Ashanti Barreto again heads to the bench, with Jillian Mickelson back out on the floor. Maeda looking for her first points of the game, now trying to fight for the rebound. They call for jump ball, and this time possession arrow goes Foxboro's way. Malika and Davis bring the basketball up the floor with now under 3 minutes to go until halftime. Malika able to free up a good look for Jamie DeVellis. And you can add another scorer to that growing list for the Lady Warriors. The first points of the game for DeVellis. Milford just trying to find some way to get some confidence offensively. And instead another turnover, and you can see the frustration in the body language of Emma Lawrence. This has been a physical, suffocating Foxboro defense. A lot of confidence in all phases of the game. And when things are going your way, shots like that fall. Abby Hassman, excuse me. That off-balance shot underneath the basket. It takes a couple of bounces and ends up hitting. Same can't be said on the other side of the floor for Milford. Now a 40-9 score. And a travel committed by the Lady Warriors. And a quick substitution worked in for Coach Dolliver as Elise Fauerbach heads to the bench. Grace Rizzio back out onto the floor. Mickelson trying to get the high bank off the glass, and now up ahead in transition. Count it and the foul. Davis, a chance for the three-point play. Now Lily Borst back to the bench. Once again, we see a return to the floor for Ashanti Barreto. Barreto looking for a pass partner out on the perimeter, now trying to get it back inside, but the turnovers continue for the Lady Scarlet Hawks. As we tick down to the final minute of play here in the first half, Malika stops and starts around the perimeter. They'll find her now on the far wing. She releases from three and a little short on the shot, and Foxboro cannot save it from going out of bounds. And with 59.7 seconds left, Milford sends it back in play, trying to get themselves into double digits. Still just 2 points to show for the second quarter. Rizzio gives a screen for Barreto. Barreto goes in for the layup and gets it. It's her first points from the floor in this half. She's played well. Gets Milford up to 11 points, and now 30 seconds to go until we hit the break. And Malika hitting yet another three-pointer. 9 points in this second quarter. 15 points in the game. All of her points have come from three-point land. Just 10 seconds to go now. Lawrence looking for help. Tries to get it back to Barreto, but the steal for Davis takes it all the way to the basket. And now 1 second to go. Milford will not have a chance to respond before the horn sounds. And it is the end of the first half of play here in Milford. And it has been all Foxboro through the first 16 minutes, a 48-11 lead for the visiting Foxboro Warriors. A lot for Coach Dolliver and his team to talk about during halftime. We will pause and be back with third quarter action for you in a few short minutes. Again, stay tuned to coverage of Milford High School athletics here on Milford TV. Welcome back inside the Milford Gym. Second half action now underway between the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks and the visiting Foxboro Lady Warriors. And the scoreboard not malfunctioning. It is a lopsided margin right now, 48-11. A 37-point Foxboro lead. They dropped an even 30 points in the second quarter. A 30-4 run in that second quarter to turn an 18-7 score into a 48-11 lopsided affair. So Milford with some work to do to try to get back into this game. Still a long way to go here in the opening minute of play in the third quarter. The starting units back out there for both teams. Milford trying to push ahead in transition to Emma Lawrence, but she couldn't handle the pass, and that speed of Caitlin Malika. You cannot make a mistake with Malika near you on the floor. She will make you pay. Now takes a couple of dribbles inside, and this will be Malika's first basket from inside the three-point line tonight. She had 18 points in the first half, all of them coming via the three-point shot. 6 makes from three-point territory for the very gifted sophomore scorer, Caitlin Malika. And again, you just look at a lot of aspects of her game. The speed, the poise, the quick release, the accuracy from long range, the tenacity on defense. A lot of it is very reminiscent of Kate Irwin, who graduated from this Milford girls team this past spring. And, of course, Malika even wearing 11, which is what Irwin wore for her 4 years here for the Lady Hawks. Can still see Kate's name here in the gym. It is now on the 1,000-point scorers banner. The 7th player to have their name etched onto that banner for her 1,077 career points. Good defense inside for Katie Maeda, but Foxborough is able to keep play alive. They get it outside to Malika, this time a miss, and now fighting for the rebound is Chelsea Gibbons. Might have taken some contact from behind, no whistle. And another shot hoisted up by Foxborough, no good. And finally, Milford is able to put an end to an extended look for Foxborough. Rizzio now with a quick pass inside to Lawrence. Lawrence offline on the release. And now rapid fire up the floor for Malika. The three-pointer put up by Chelsea Gibbons. The ball loose in front of the Foxborough bench, and you could hear Coach Dolliver clapping the hands, wanting to see his team aggressively go after that ball. And it's certainly an element that's missing from this Milford team from a year ago. And again, it's something that just comes with experience, playing as a unit, logging minutes at the varsity level. But you think about some of those players from last year's team. If there was one thing that team never lacked game in and game out, it was toughness and effort and a relentless ability to go after the basketball, whether it was Irwin, whether it was Pierre Gustavo, Jess Tomaso, inside players like Juliana Tracy or Jill Valenzola. Those players' bodies were flying to the floor every chance they had to try to come up with a loose basketball, and that's something that this team is going to have to get more comfortable with as they continue to play with one another. And now Foxborough just outworking Milford for the basketball right there, and it results in points up the floor for Chelsea Gibbons after a couple of opportunities on that possession a moment ago. This time she's able to cash in. Now Rizzio from three, too short. And Malika watches the ball go out of play. And Coach Dolliver will look to get a change of pace out there as Barreto and Fauerbach come back onto the floor, replacing Maeda and Rizzio. So Milford getting smaller out there on the floor. Malika with a start and a stop, and now releases the pass back outside to Lizzie Davis. Now the long pass back to Malika from three-point range, went halfway down and then rims out. .436 to go in the third quarter. (52-12) is the score. Now the ball jarred loose. Barreto able to track it down. Now pestered by Malika. Shot clock winding down. The bench helping out Mickelson, who releases, and the shot no good. The lead at an even 40 points. As we'll see the substitution. Onto the floor comes Julia Kelly. Malika waiting patiently to receive that pass on the near wing. Now sends it back out to Davis. And now a tough feed through traffic. Ball momentarily loose, but Foxborough scoops it right back up now from the free throw line. The shot no good for Hassman, and now here's Barreto trying to motor her way up the floor, but the defense gets set. And now Barreto loses control. Foxborough coming into this game tonight, scoring an average of 68 points per game. Milford coming in scoring an average of just 28.6 points per night, which is the lowest mark in the entire Hockomock League. So you have the highest scoring offense on a per night basis versus the lowest scoring. So we certainly knew this was going to be an uphill battle. The pedigree of Foxboro, the championship from a season ago. Milford in the midst of a rebuild as Davis will have a chance for the three-point play coming up here. Carly Ferreira now will look to check back into the game. Emma Lawrence shaken up a little bit, it seems. She will go head over to get some attention from the trainer. And a miss on the free throw. Fauerbach back out there. Fires a pass outside to Mickelson. Mickelson makes a move inside, then tries to get the pass into Fauerbach, but intercepted by Julia Kelly. The turnover once again. Too many to count at this point. One of the things this team is going to have to continue to work at. Malika had the chance to shoot the three, instead took a couple of steps inside. 4 points now in this third quarter, up to 22 overall in the game, and we'll see a timeout called for with 2 minutes and 1 second to go in the third quarter. It is a 56-12 score. Foxboro leads Milford here on Milford TV. Milford with the ball onto the timeout, and a big mountain to climb, down 56-12, and continuing to give themselves self-inflicted wounds here with the turnovers. Malika give and go around the perimeter, and now the shot put up by Catant, no good. Here's Barreto. She'll let it float from just inside the free throw line, too high off the glass. Might have taken a little shove afterwards. Foxboro turning it over on the other side of the floor. And Emma Lawrence, after receiving some attention from the training staff, will head back out there. Just over a minute to play in the third quarter as Barreto floats it in one-handed. Again, looked good. You can see Barreto has some flair around the rim. She's just been snake-bitten with some bad luck here finishing. Malika ups her third quarter point total to 6, and now off the turnover, heaves up a shot. And it is something to see to watch Malika operate out there on the basketball court. 26 points and counting now on the evening. 35 seconds to go. They wave off the shot as the foul is committed on the floor. The foul is committed by Adrian Dunn as Malika will head to the bench along with Chelsea Gibbons for this final 34.5 seconds. Rizzio, a tough pass out on the perimeter. Now the ball loose. Rizzio tries to save it, but it's plucked away by Julia Kelly. And now another fast three released on the other end by Foxboro, no good. Rizzio gets locked up on the jump ball, and the possession arrow keeps the ball on the Foxboro side. The Shot clock turned off with just 14.9 left in the period. Right off the inbounds pass. Gatant can't get it to go. And Milford locking up for another jump ball. This time it will be Milford basketball. And just 9 seconds to go. Milford with just 1 point to show for this third quarter. And they turn it over under the basket, and then the foul is committed on Jamie DeVellis. And Foxboro will send it in with 1.7 to go, and the Lady Warriors will just dribble out that remaining clock. So Foxboro not quite ready to ease up on the throttle just yet. It's now a 60-12 score. It's been all Foxboro all night long. 8 minutes left to go. We'll have the fourth quarter for you next here on Milford TV. Tim Coed, happy to be with you on this Friday night here in the Milford gym. Not a good sight on the scoreboard if you are a fan of this Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks basketball team. It is a 60-12 Foxboro lead. A 48-point differential on the scoreboard. Milford, after scoring 7 points in the first quarter, scored just 4 in the second and just 1 point in the third. And right now, Foxboro with their leading scorer, Caitlin Malika, on the bench, and you have to wonder if maybe she will ride out the rest of this game from the sidelines. The game certainly well in hand for Foxboro, en route to their 6th straight victory to open up the season, as they are hoping to defend their Division II state championship. Certainly the title defense has gotten off to a good start. Foxboro, after this game tonight, will be back at home for 2 straight against Oliver Ames and Stoughton. Milford, meanwhile, as we mentioned, will be back here at home next Tuesday to take on Mansfield before they go out on the road to take on North Attleboro, who is the only other winless team in the Hockomock League. And I beg your pardon, North Attleboro winless within league play. They are 1-6 overall on the season, as Foxboro commits the turnover, and then Adrian Dunn trying to force her way inside, but Milford ends up drawing the charge. Dunn lowering the shoulder there. Some physical play for a game that Foxboro leads by nearly 50, as Milford again throws it away. Just sloppy passing. And now Dunn puts it up from 3-point range, no good. Second chance effort not there, and the ball ends up going out of play. Still a lot of coaching going on right now. Coach Dolliver, for the time being seated, he typically paces up and down that sideline throughout the game, but Coach Mackey is one of the assistant coaches on this team, continuing to bark out instructions. Six minutes to go in this fourth quarter. It's been scoreless through the first 2 minutes of the period. A trio of substitutions with Rizio, Borst, and Barreto returning to the floor. And the 3-ball put up by Ashanti Barreto, just short. She was frustrated. It looked good coming out of her hand, but just not enough on that shot. Now around to defender. Julia Kelly sees her shot fall just short. And we play on with the scoreboard frozen in this fourth quarter. Jordan Collins making a bid for Another Foxboro steal. Ends up poking the ball out of play. Shakira Katant now to the bench. So a lot of the second unit out there at this point for the Lady Warriors. At this point, I believe their entire starting lineup is no longer in the game. Shot off the mark for Jamie DeVellis, but a good job by Jordan Collins coming in for the putback. And so there are the first points of the fourth quarter. And meanwhile, Milford now will take a trip to the free throw line. Milford still with just 1 point in the second half. And Barreto missing both free throws. Now outside for Dunn, guarded closely by Barreto. Into the hands of Busniak. Anita Busniak, who had 5 points in the first quarter, gets on the score sheet here in the second half. A lot of weapons up and down this Foxboro roster. Barreto a chance for the rebound and then tossed up a wild second chance effort. Now Busniak getting ahead of the Milford defense, and 4 quick points for Anita Busniak. And Foxboro knocking on the door of that 68-point per night average. As now Milford is able to put in their first shot from the floor in this second half. To make the score 66-14. The ball up for grabs. It ends up deflecting to Emma Lawrence. Lawrence trying to take it into the hoop, but the defense closes in. Again, trying to force her way inside, and this time draws the foul. A foul called on Jamie DeVellis. Milford now 3 for 9 from the free throw line. $15 points on the night now for the Lady Hawks. Trailing this game by 51. Here's Lawrence ahead in transition, lays it in. Milford with a little bit of a late surge here, with the game well in hand on the Foxboro side. Milford still putting in a good effort. Barreto loses the handle, it goes out of play. It will be Foxboro basketball with 2 minutes and 32 seconds to go. This game played at a very quick pace. Opening tip was only about an hour and 3 minutes ago. Closing in on the 2-minute mark in this fourth quarter. And the foul called for, stopping the clock at 2:13. The foul on Ashanti Barreto. It's her fourth foul. Still just the fifth team foul in this second half. Here's Dunn. Shot just short. A quick release on the second chance effort for Jamie DeVellis. And that ends up out of bounds. And back in play we go for the final 2 minutes. Tough pass finds its way to Rizzio. Now a deflected ball into Amanda Wenkes, who comes into the game late. And gets fouled. A little shaken up afterwards, but will hang in there to make free throws. Wenkes logged a decent amount of playing time in the JV game earlier this evening. And this is on the free throw attempt. At least Fauerbach gets her hand on that pass, forces the turnover. Now the ball loose. Barreto has it, tries to push ahead, but loses control. And Foxboro back with it with less than 90 seconds to play. Adrian Dunn connects from three-point range. And the starters cheering on the subs to close out this fourth quarter on the Foxboro side, as Foxboro nearly touching 70 points, which is becoming just another day at the office for this offense. And they will indeed get over that 70-point mark. 71-17. As Barreto now goes down very hard, but is able to spring right back to her feet. Sounded a lot worse than it was. The foul is called on Anita Busniak. It's her fourth foul. Free throws a problem for both varsity basketball programs in Milford so far this season. We've seen the boys struggle mightily from the free throw line as well. So now we're under 30 seconds to go. Barreto comes through with the bucket. And the shot clock now turned off, so Foxboro looking to pass the basketball as they drain the remainder of this clock. Now just 5 seconds to go. And a couple of more passes should do it. And the final second now about to tick away, and that is that, 71-19. This game never in doubt right from the beginning. Foxboro still looking in state championship form as they take down the Lady Scarlet Hawks tonight, so Milford will have to wait another day to try to find that elusive first win on the season. They now fall to 0-6. Foxboro stays perfect on the season at 6-0. Milford will be right back in action here on the home floor coming up on Tuesday night against Mansfield. We will be back here for coverage then, so we will talk to you on Tuesday. In the meantime, for our camera operator, Scott Crisafulli, and our director for the game tonight, Mike Sperling, I am Tim Coette. That final score, one final time, 71-19. A tough loss for the Milford Lady Scarlet Hawks against the Foxboro Warriors. So long, everybody.